Hello everyone, and welcome to week 4 of our English 112 online. So this particular lecture is going to have to do with stacking the argument in your favor, and this requires, of course, the idea of a definition, which is the rhetorical method for gaining a grip on the argument, also known as stance. It is best used when the facts aren't necessarily on your side. So, for example, if you've got the facts, then you want to flaunt them. Heinrichs mentions in the text a scenario which involves a little girl who gets caught red-handed stealing a cookie before dinner. Now, if the little girl is put on trial, as Heinrichs mentions, she obviously can't use the facts. She was caught red-handed. So, she may want to fall back in her defense to redefine the terms. So, for example, the little girl redefined her terms not as smuggling candy, but rather hiding it from, say, a little brother, then she might win the favor of her judge, or her father in this case. Redefining the terms makes your opponent's words look negative and yours look positive. Again, the connotation behind hiding certainly is more positive than smuggling. You want to look for the commonplace words because each word comes with its own emotional baggage. However, let's say that the little girl doesn't have a brother. She can't redefine her terms in comparison to him trying to steal the candy, so she has to fall back again on her argument, making one of quality, which basically states that your opponent's argument is less important than it seems. So, again, using the example of the little girl, she might fall back and say, well, she was just starving from hunger because she didn't have time to eat her lunch. With any luck, as Heinrichs points out, her father may just give her a lecture on proper nutrition and let her go on her merry way. However, let's pretend like that doesn't work. Then the little girl might want to fall back again to an argument based on relevance. This carries big risks because it questions the jurisdiction of the person who is doing the judging. So in this case, the little girl might say, well, you know, Dad, really, do you have the right to judge me? Didn't I see you popping some candy before dinner? And really, is that shot of whiskey the best thing for you? Again, this is the last fallback because the last thing you want is to put your audience on the defense. So saying that they really have no right to judge you might make them dig in their heels, as it were, and the little girl might therefore be punished for smuggling or hiding the candy, as it were. When we think about defining terms, we think about it in terms of labeling. This involves term changing. Again, don't accept your opponent's use of terms, but rather make them your own. The redefinition, which changes the connotation. A thing called definition jujitsu, which uses your opponent's terms to help you rather than not. And of course, definition judo, as Heinrichs points out, involves using contrasting terms that make your opponent look bad. This is part of what is called framing. We look for commonplace words, try to use the broadest context as possible to deal with a specific problem, and of course, as in all good deliberative argument, we want to speak in the future tense. Why adopting your choice, the specific problem, is the most advantageous, as we discussed in our previous lecture. Now for this week, you'll recognize under course content that you have another paper coming up. This is going to be the definition assignment in which you will be applying these terms that we've just discussed. So what you're going to have to do this week is review the directions for the assignment under this week's content. You're going to use the discussion board as you did for the first time around to find a peer. However, I've decided to add another component, which is to post your peer partner's name in the proper form in discussion board. This, again, most of you did very well connecting with peers and providing timely feedback. However, I noticed there was a few missteps, mishaps, so I want to know exactly who is partnering with who. And you'll also notice that I ask that you pledge to provide proper feedback in a timely manner to your peer. Otherwise, if you do not post for your peer and he or she loses out on his or her points, then you will as well. So please keep this in mind for this week and this assignment.